Why don't you buy it in Tracy?
It's probably like 90%. Once you get,
And then Tyler will cut a check out.
Do you have to pay him for showing up now?
Yeah, that worked out
Do
great.
we have to pay him just to show up now?
By the way, she got the shed down,
Part of
so
the
our
fine
only
print.
thing is getting the back of the shed, you know, with the exterior.
we're on a
So the big stuff got done.
Cool. Wave hi to everybody.
You will mail a check, Tom? You will mail a check?
Yes. Yeah, unless I'm up there. I may drop by in the next day or two and I'll just drop it off. at the
Yep,
office.
that's fine.
No, not too bad.
Hang on.
I think Sadler's probably waiting for Jeff to sign it.
You just sign yourself.
The check for that filing fee.
Oh,
All my reminders.
I just sent it to Stacy today. Was that something you wanted to make?
What, being impressed?
No, I didn't even know some of this was.
Okay.
When I have it, I'll take
You just had a
it.
threat.
I know.
Okay, good deal.
Hi, Matt.
Or we'll mail a check, one, two, but I'm, somebody's up
All right, ready? We're ready. All right, we'll call to order the regular city council meeting for August 25th. Start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bless you all.
Nobody from the audience contact or anything that is not from the agenda? Is everything okay? What's up? I was like saying there's nobody in the audience that wants to talk about anything that is not on the agenda tonight.
We have to approve
Is
the
our-
agenda first.
Is our agenda okay?
What's wrong with it?
There's
We have to approve it. Oh.
confusion tonight.
Are there any changes?
Yeah,
There
is
are
there
no
any corrections?
changes in the agenda. We're going to take it just as the last one.
Motion to approve is written.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, David.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 11th council minutes, approve municipal accounts payable and payroll without breakthrough beverage, approve the municipal accounts receivable, approve the March 3rd planning commission minutes, approve the July 16th park board minutes, and approve resolution 2025-68, the gambling permit for St. Mary's, assuming all fees are paid.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I have a few questions
Okay.
there, thank you. On the municipal accounts payable, item number or check number 89501 to Southwest Sanitation for $9,359. Are we buying new containers or what would that be, Tyler?
So each month, all the citizens pay us for their garbage,
Right.
and then we send one big check to Southwest.
Right, but I know that amounts just seem different than normal. Like
That's pretty normal, usually upper 9,000.
Okay, and then.
Just to address that though, Seth, too, we have one more year left on that contract with them. So we'll have to negotiate that in 2026.
Okay, and then, we had two library programs, payments, one for $1,000 and one for $400. Was the $1,000 one, did we get a grant for that art program at the library?
I know we got a grant for the summer programs. I think it was $2,500.
Okay, and then the $400 one to Mr. Braunbacher, did we get a legacy grant to pay for part of that?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. And
When
then,
we could ask Val about that tonight,
Okay.
if she makes it here,
Okay.
she had her last doctor's appointment today, so she wouldn't know if she was going to make it
Okay.
back today.
okay, and then let's see. $1,237 at Swift Lake Park. We had a new water heater put in there then at the park.
$1,237 at Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. how often do we have to do that? Just,
That one was 20 years old.
okay, so it's due to be replaced then. Okay,
There were a number of complaints because it's getting so old that even when you run the water, it smelled.
okay. And then just one question about the planning commission. We had the minutes from in March. Has the planning commission met since then?
We just met
Okay, and you're working on that
at the
zoning
beginning of
changes?
this, well, it was earlier this month, we didn't do it on the
Okay.
Monday that we normally would,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. then
We're
that's-
doing it a three-step process, so we went through a certain number of zoning pages. Tom could speak well on that, and we have 2 more meetings that we will be completing that, and with enough time to get it to the full council before the end of the year.
Are you on track then to get that? I mentioned a goal of October, November, or so in the May 3rd minutes for the zoning changes.
Well, I think we felt with our timelines, we were gonna be able to make it.
It'd be more like the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, well, that'd be good. Okay, just wondering. That's all I had, Mayor.
Okay. Then roll call, please.
Teagues,
Aye.
Arvizo,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Landine,
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable for Breakthrough Beverage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Landine,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Arvizo,
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Any mayor or council communication that anybody'd like to talk about before we get into staff reports?
I had one thing, but I see that it's gonna be brought up later, so I'll wait.
Okay.
I would just like to add, Mayor, I'm on the Wheels Across the Prairie board, and just remind people that to check out the wheels this weekend, a lot of new exhibits and so forth, and I hope people will also take in all the other boxcar day events coming up this coming weekend.
Do we need to mention anything about, do you think everybody knows about the streets? Like why we have these signs on the streets?
It was in the newspaper again, and it's been on the,
And we can have Shane just mention when he comes up.
Okay, because a couple people asked me on Saturday, and I know, I saw it was on the citizen thing too, but I didn't know if we should just mention, so you might want to just mention that.
you can mention that, and then Tom can talk a little bit about the railroad crossing also.
Yay.
Yeah, they started that today.
We've been busy around the area. They're fixing a lot of them this year. No kidding.
I'd say that. Okay.
All right, Ben, we can go into staff reports.
All right. Shane, you want to start?
Ooh, geez, me first.
I know.
Well,
New
Tam's
favorite.
not here, so you're going up with the rankings.
Save the best for last, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we had one major event on last Sunday. We had to pump some sewage with a bypass from 5.5 inches of rain, depending on what side of town you're on. Haven't heard anything as far as backups as of yet, so hopefully we survive that one. But it went about as well as we could. We used every pump we could find in town, so along with transfer jets on fire trucks, so we had 2 of those going too. We were losing ground a little bit for a little while, so we got the donation to the park for water hydrants. We did get those. Everything underground is in. We're going to have a plumber after we get some parts, put everything together in the building so they work, but we haven't had a whole lot of watering needs yet this summer, but possibly next. But so that's been put in. So if you're wondering what the digging was in the park last Thursday, that's what that was. Other than that, the seal coating is happening tomorrow. They will probably start sweeping late morning, the way it sounds right now, and then they'll be putting oil down right after that. So basically following each other, and then it'll be done tomorrow. So Viking Park, we are sweeping up. They don't have time, being it's so close to Labor Day, like to let it sit for a week before they sweep. So we're gonna sweep for sure 3rd Street and the parade route to make sure all that rock's picked up before the weekend. Just so no one gets hurt, slips, falls, especially with the carnival sitting right downtown. So, and then we'll probably try to paint lines yet this fall. I'll have to repaint those, but gotta let the rocks kind of fly off a little bit after a few rains and traffic, so we don't lose our paint right away. So that's happening. They are currently patching the bike path today and tomorrow, and they are planning to have the overlay done by the end of the week. So if anybody asking about that, that'll be happening too. So and then we'll be done for major projects.
Is there a way we can not wait till like a week before the weekend, the Labor Day weekend, and get them to come either earlier or later?
Generally, we can. Their schedule, they kind of travel based on where each town is, and Slayton, and they're going to Laverne, then Slayton in the morning, and then late morning they're coming to us. So they're just working their way back towards the cities. So, but it kind of just depends on who's getting the contract, you know, and where they're located and what their schedule is like. So,
Can't we put that in the bid?
we can, but we're gonna have higher dollar amounts if we start specifying a time. But I don't really think it's gonna affect the Labor Day weekend that much.
I don't know if we want to start putting that specification in the bid, because we're kind of, yes, who gets the bid, we're still kind of at their mercy for timing, but it's not like this has happened year after year.
It's every 6-7 years for seal coating, so
Okay. I just had some people making comments to me, and I said, well, I don't know.
yeah.
So now I know.
I mean, the bike path, I wish all that was done a month ago, but it keeps raining, and actually they were supposed to be here last Friday doing seal coating and sweeping the day before that, and they got rained out 2 times last week, so that kept pushing their schedule out. So they got here as fast as possible. I warned them that it's happening. They're going to be taking off. I don't remember what the per yard price was.
That's what I was just gonna say.
They're taking
We're
off
getting
that
paid to
for
do
the sweeping
sweeping of
service.
the
Yep.
snow,
So it's not like we're not losing on it at all. It's just that we're saving a little bit. Not on brooms, but on the line item I got somewhere it'll say, but it'll gain somewhere else. But yeah, that's I guess the major events happening right now. I don't know if you have any questions on anything else.
Well, first I'd like to congratulate you on getting these major projects rolling here, path and park hydrants and seal coating. Do you have an idea when the cement around the playground might be poured?
I don't have a date for that yet. It will happen this fall, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. So all of the equipment in the playground working as advertised?
Yep. I haven't heard anything otherwise. We have to lower a swing. That's the only thing. That's what you requested, but it is pretty high.
Chronically challenge people.
But
Diane, could you not get on a swing?
No, and it was like this far from the ground, I couldn't even make the swing
She had to take a
go.
running jumping.
but we got good video.
It seems like it's well used.
Yeah.
'Cause
So there's
every
kids.
night we go for a walk and it's always people.
You're right.
Always, and more than just one.
Well, if you see Diane stuck, go help her.
Diane, I don't live far from the park, just 1 block. So
If I
you got
holler.
my
Speed
number,
dial.
or you've got my number.
Well, it's the one where the baby goes in the front of it, so if I get stuck, I'm not stuck alone.
Well, what are you doing in there?
Well, my grandkids.
Oh, I thought you were trying to do this.
No, I wouldn't fit in that.
Hey, Mayor, could I add one item related to the park? And that's, the park board did authorize a plan where people can sponsor a park bench as a memorial to loved ones. And the cost is $1,600 when we settled on, and it allows people to have a nameplate on the bench that lists who it's from and who it's in memory of, and just some nice benches, a nice design, and hopefully we're going to be ordering some soon. And Shane, any chance if they came in that we could get those might be installed this fall yet, maybe, or?
We have the concrete there. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
they're just surface mount, so it don't take much to bolt them up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I hope everyone
They'll be
considers that.
off the main thing,
Yeah.
By the playground.
but not right on the sidewalk, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Kind of offset from the sidewalk.
Right in the middle.
Seth, isn't there 3 of them so far that you know?
Approximately 3, yeah.
So we put the pads in, we're gonna have to just pour those as they do the sidewalk, because otherwise it's not enough concrete for us to order a special load for it, so.
Yeah.
We're just gonna get them put in, and then as the benches come in, we'll just bolt them down as they come, so.
Yeah.
The other thing I was gonna mention too, I know it's in my report, but the hangar has the doors welded in, the 2 gable ends have the tin on them. Of course, the roof's had the tin on for a while. They are going to pave everything around it tomorrow, so it'll be nice to see some pavement.
And
there.
all the new ones are spoken for?
There's a little, I guess, things to iron out as far as what the airport board and the council wants to let happen in there. We have a couple spray applicators that want hangar space. That would occupy basically half the building, but I don't know how that works with the chemicals and OSHA, and do we even want to go there, or if we're going to require them to have some off-site storage for that. As far as their plane, that's fine, but to have chemicals in the building with other private occupants, I don't know, that's a greatest idea there, so.
Oh, they'd be sharing a hangar.
They're separate compartments, but it's still the same building, so if something were to happen, it would affect the other tenants.
Okay.
But
Shane, will that new hangar space, will that be available for people to wander over at the fly-in and look at, or not?
should be able to. I don't know if there'll be tin on it yet or not, because the doors won't be operable.
Okay.
So once they'd have to wire all those in, and that's not going to happen this week. So they're still trying to get power there, and that's probably not going to happen until Thursday. They have to shut down the site to. Sounds like they might be resetting a new transformer. What's there is old and undersized the way it sounded. So, but yeah, so they'll have to get the power cut to the whole airport on Thursday, mid-morning to mid-afternoon.
With reassurance that it will be up and ready to go for the.
I warned them. I have food coming on Friday, so.
Just to go back a little bit further, when we got that 5.5, 6 inches of rain, I did not get any phone calls. I don't think Shane received any. So some of the things that we're doing within the city to making it a better system, so we don't have the issues that we've had in the past. And also, one more thing, what some of the people don't see is when we get a storm like that comes in at midnight till 6 in the morning, you've got the fire department and Shane and his crew are out there at midnight till 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night, Sunday morning. I don't think a lot of people see that type of thing being, because there's not a lot of traffic out there. Some of the traffic that was out there shouldn't have been out there driving around us, and there are them, but they just give them credit with the teamwork that they have the concern to be out there to have these big pumps running, and can't really apologize to some of the residents that had pumps right outside their door in the street. That we don't get a lot of complaints there either. So
They all kind of know to save in their basements.
so as far as I know, there were no disasters.
That was a lot of rain.
Thank you for everybody that worked overtime.
Thankfully, we had a fire call and fire department was already up on another call and we just moved to that one next. So.
And then one more thing, and I want you to mention who that was. So I'm down here at 7 o'clock in the morning. Somebody pulls up, and I think she was from Valentin, that has a son on the fire department. Is it, or is it who's just went out and bought, or went out and made? That knew that they were out all night in the fire call and with the water and everything. Just made them all breakfast. Brought it to the fire department. Who was that?
I believe Jordan Hagley.
Jordan Hagley's mom.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Anything else for me?
Not yet.
I'll put that.
Never know, never know.
Tyler, you want to go next? If we could, Mayor, I'm going to have, when Tyler is going to give his department head report, and then if you don't mind, I'd like to just move down to, he has a real quick, just a budget amendment that he wants to take care of right away too, so we can do that.
All right, department head report is kind of same old, same old. Little more revenue and utilities in the first part of the year. Sales at the liquor store were down a little bit. I'm guessing just because of all the rain, less people going to their cabins or being outside. And then camping, revenue's been down significantly this year. And I've kind of pondered if maybe that had to do with the construction project at the school not happening this summer. Who knows why, but it's down significantly. And the rain, good point, same reason. And then licensing, just slightly lower than last. And then good news, local government aid. We thought at first it was going to be $15,000 lower than last year, and then $7,000, and it ended up being slightly higher for some odd reason. So that was a relief.
Was it 1,700? Is that higher than it was last year?
1,700.
A couple of you had asked me that, so
All right.
we'll take it, yes.
Any questions on that? And I'll get into the budget amendments.
So, go ahead.
Okay. So, one of them is, I'll go through them. So the De La Forest Consulting, we hired a lobbyist to speak on our behalf at the state. And so we need to do a budget amendment for that. And then summer programming for the library. We received a grant, $2,500, and we also received money from the people who participated in the summer programming that covered that increase in expense. EDA grant spending, that was for that grant that they did work on people's websites, businesses in the city, and we'd expected that all to be wrapped up in 2025, but we had a little more in January. And
Is
then,
that all done now?
Yep, it was done in, I think, February. We had to have our final numbers in. And we received reimbursement for that. Actually, more than we spent because there's reimbursement still from the prior year. And then I would like to balance out the water and sewer funds. The sewer fund has been negative since last year because of the street projects that we did, and the federal government reimbursing us huge amounts for water, but not as much for sewer. So just to have those kind of a similar amount. And then we took out a bond that we weren't expecting to start on that Phase E project. So just approving paying the interest for it, and then the revenue that's coming in, and then the engineering costs that will be going out. So the revenue coming in, there's revenue that's directly for debt service, that's the $165,010.50. And then there's also the revenue towards engineering costs is the $1,848,000. And then the expenses are the $41,000 and the $1,550. And then also we'd like to move funds from the general administration IT services and software to the libraries IT services and software, because their computers are getting slow that are for patrons, and we have some surplus in the budget for here. And then also there was one bill for sewer issues in a house here in town that we didn't budget for. That was unexpected. So I think that's it. Quite a few.
So the library is going to be getting a couple of new computers that they were going to be on the docket for next year, and we had some extra IT here, and so we just moved it over to move it ahead.
Any questions on those or concerns?
So we've got resolution 2025-72 authorizing 2025 budget amendment number 1.
I'll make a motion to approve that. Resolution 2025-72 authorizing 2025 budget amendment number 1.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Lisa,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Burbank,
Aye.
Teagues,
Aye.
Hendricks,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Mayor Corbin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
I don't have a lot for you tonight, just like to do a shout out to Officer Hanson and the National Night Out Committee for putting on a good party again this year. And that went well, I was told. And so I'd like to congratulate them on their efforts and their great turnout. Other than that, it's business as usual and getting ready for the weekend. So, which we'll have a full staff this weekend, which will be nice. Even my part-timers coming down for the weekend, so it'll be like we're actually full staff. So, any questions on anything?
So Chief, at peak times of the boxcar days, how many people do you actually have on duty then? Do you have 2, 3 sometimes, or
4.
4?
Yeah, during the dance there'll be 4 of us. Plus whatever county officers show up or state patrol in the area or.
Okay. And then really that hasn't ever been much of a problem, that dance. I mean, as far as I mean, the crowd
Don't
control.
even
I
say
mean,
Don't jinx it. Why don't you bring that up? Every year is a different challenge, so we'll see what this year brings.
how many? What was your nose count for the National Night Out? Do you have any idea how many people you had?
No, I do not.
A bunch.
A bunch.
Really good job.
I'm sure the committee could tell you exactly how many burgers and hot dogs they went through, but I don't have those numbers in front of me.
It was a nice crowd.
All right, thank you very much.
Good night.
Thanks. Tom, you're up.
Okay, so the question that I have has to do with Stafford, the B underneath of that, so should I just wait?
Yes, because that'll be
Okay.
part of what I'm going to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
Good evening. Yeah, my report, I was going to just highlight a couple things. Seth brought up one of the questions, planning and zoning. We are working on just ordinance 89, which was drafted in January, February of 1968. And then added to it about 25 times since then. And So we have made it, I divided it into 3 sections. We made it through sections 1 through 6, which takes us through definitions and takes us through R1 and R2, residential zoning. We got about 2/3 of the way through that, and so we will be convening again on Wednesday, next Wednesday, not this coming one, the next Wednesday, to finish out sections 1 through 6. I've just been really impressed. Everyone showed up prepared. They had read, they had notes. We had great discussion. I think we did a lot of good upgrades or updates, and I think it's moving along well. Very productive. We'll finish off then the next sections will take us through all of our commercial zones, so it'll be our downtown business. We're discussing a Highway 14 or a highway business district. That's something that would be new that we haven't had before. And then we'll get through the I-1 and I-2, which is industrial. So we'll get through those sections, the next one. And then the third session that we'll do is probably going to be in November. And that'll get us through all of the, in other words, so all of the things that did not fit in these sections. So if individuals are wanting any kind of setting aside a rule, or I can't think of what the terms are, where we have built within there some review of that process. But that's what we'll look at. Is that last section has a lot to do with those kind of events.
I thought we were going to have our 3rd meeting in October.
So we will. So the third meeting in October, we'll go over section 2, because next week we're finishing section 1 through 6. So then we'll start in with that next section in October. I hope that we can accomplish.
So we're actually going to have 4 meetings that we actually will do this business.
Hopefully we can get it all done in those 4. The commercial industrial's rather lengthy, but there's some repetitiveness once you get into it where certain things will fit. I have begun doing some basic training with Shane on support out at the cemetery. So we had an opportunity to go out and mark some lots, sold a couple lots late last week, those kind of things. So trying to take that off of his list of things to do, lighten the load there. Nobody at the works department was interested in taking that over, and I said I'd be interested in doing that. So I am within time after my full training, and I've been inspected several times. And, let's see. A couple things on the second page I wanted to point out for our listeners in TV land, as Pam says. We have a seniors roadshow. I put a pamphlet or a page in front of each of you. I was contacted by the State Attorney General's office last fall with this roadshow idea and asking if Tracy would like to host one of their presentations. I said I believe that we would be very open to that. Set the basement of the library as a place, set the date. And so that'll be Tuesday, September 16th at 11 a.m. at the library lower level. Got posters up. We've handed those out at cards. I'm trying to get them around to other events, but there's some extras on the table if you know individuals. I think I'd like to see if we couldn't pass those out. I was just thinking today at the DMV to seniors that are coming through and give them maybe a half page of one of these, a little smaller one to hand out just to say, hey, this is coming up. There is no group that is more targeted for scams than our seniors. And I've seen it firsthand working in banking institutions. It's just unbelievable. And they're not skilled in the newer technologies and some of the things that are going on, that I think the trust level is still so high that when someone calls and says, I'm your grandson and I need help and I've been arrested, and they take it. I mean, even though it doesn't sound like them, it doesn't sound like anything that would happen, it gets them going, it upsets them, and we just just need to be able to pass along. So this will, what they'll be doing is laying out some of the most widespread, some of the latest scams, particularly targeting seniors, and what they can do about it, where they can report, how they can be aware. So I think that's going to be a real valuable one. And the reason I was hoping that we could get this here too is that that might be, if we have a good turnout, maybe we become part of their regular process where they contact us again for what's coming next, whether it's seniors or whoever. The other one is potential home buyer seminar. I am going to be doing that. I think Jeff's going to be there to assist on Wednesday evening, September 17th, for level library once again. And we'll just do a real high level, this is what home buying is about. This is what you can do to prepare for qualification. This is what lending institutions look for. This is what you should be aware of in owning a home. Just some of the basics that people maybe that have never owned a home or wondered, and been getting a good response for that. So we'll see who all shows up.
What time was that?
That will be September 17th, so that is a Wednesday night.
But what time?
6:30.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to think if there'd be a good place for us to put some things for people to get over the weekend, because even kids coming home to see that and say, hey, mom or dad, you should go down to this.
That's a good idea.
But I don't know where a good place would be.
Well, I think the chamber, we could get that on the chamber website or the Facebook page too.
Yeah, so it's been on the Tracy website. We'll get it on our own website, get it into, I think a lot of the individuals who will be coming back, social media will be probably our best bet, and then get it hopefully.
Could we laminate a few of these and just put them up like the bingo tent out at St. Mary's?
Great idea.
A couple spots in the beer
For the
tent just to,
waffle thing.
Yes.
and the waffle feed, just laminate some and just like stand up to,
Great idea.
at least just in a couple spots.
Yeah,
Good
definitely.
idea.
If you know of other areas where
Another thing, is that still
a
going
larger
on?
sized group of,
Should I mention it?
yeah, any place you know seniors are going to be gathering. I think this next week or two, I'll probably hit some of the churches for, I was planning to go over to the Quilters at the Tracy Lutheran Church, I believe, is Wednesdays mornings, and just start getting some of those with these things too.
May I add that we have our, people used to know it as bone builders, but it's technically known as SAIL, Stay Active and Independent Fertile. It's geared for kind of people my age, but I've never turned anybody away. It's a 1 hour workout session. We really focus a lot on active balance, getting stronger, because then you're less likely to fall. State of Minnesota, some insurance companies kind of put their heads together and had some physical therapists develop a program, which I follow, I did not create. But we're going to start September 9th, 10:30 to 11:30 here in the Veterans Memorial Center Gymnasium, starting the September 9th, and we are now going to go 3 days a week, so Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It's free. We can accept donations. We usually ask for donations at the end of the session, but there is no obligation. We provide the weights. I think it's, I talk to the medical board each year, and we are getting referrals from some of the medical providers for people that might benefit from the program, especially people with bone density issues.
I just saw it on Facebook
Yes,
today.
thank you. We've got our,
Can I share?
we have our poster developed now, so it's going to be in the paper. We usually put in 2 good-sized ads. Thank you. I think the money comes from the Tracy Foundation, right? The funding to help pay for the advertising?
Nope, that actually comes from what we, for our extra activities through the, just through the multipurpose center that we put in there every year.
Great. because it is somewhat of a community bonus to have classes that would help benefit people of all ages, but it's geared mainly for people my age. And it's starting September 9th, 10:30.
So you can talk to them about this.
Yep, we'll have those on hand too. And they are very welcoming. Every time Jeff and I walk anywhere close, they invite us to come in. Someday maybe we'll participate, but I don't know whether I can keep up actually.
They stopped in quite often, sometimes made comments or whatever, and so I told them the next time they pull that, they get to join the class.
They're actually sitting in their office, they can hear stuff when they're doing that.
Yeah, they're working out independently.
Jen, is there a sign up for that, or is it just show up?
They can show up, yes. I think on the poster is my phone number if they want to let me know they're planning to come. Yeah. It's interesting, I've had even a woman from Thailand participated one year.
Long commute.
Well, she was actually staying with her daughter in town. You would know her. So we've had some very wonderful, interesting people come through the class. And, excuse me, gentlemen are welcome also. Somehow they're a little leery about joining this group. I have had some brave souls before, but we haven't had any gentlemen lately.
Right. And then best of all, I think it was mentioned, Center Street Railroad Crossing. They actually jumped on that even quicker. I thought that they were just going to put out their signs today and get started on tomorrow, but the county has been coordinating with the railroad, and they were there this morning actually, had roadblocks up, started cutting the asphalt. I swung over there after lunch. We had virtually all of the old timber completely removed and sitting on the side, and tomorrow some of the next crew comes in and cleans up and starts laying the new timber, and then Lyon County will be in to do the asphalt approaches and get that all up and going. And I'm hoping that by Thursday we're done. Be nice to leave those roadblocks up for the time just to get the asphalt all cured real well. But well ahead. I did verify that that is part of our lineup area for overflow for the parade. Goes out across the tracks and on the front street. And so I was in touch with Jay just in case it got delayed at all, that they would have to make amendments to that. But that's good to see that done. Check that off, folks. Any questions?
Tom, could you talk a little bit about that housing trust fund?
So we began working on that, actually I want to say in the end of 24 it was, and there were 3 or 4 different programs that were coming out. That was the first of them. What it is was for a local housing trust fund. It was a matching grant through state of Minnesota, through Minnesota Housing. The state does a good share of their grants and loans and anything in the area of housing through the Department of Housing and Minnesota Housing. And so we applied. I think you drafted the ordinance or the amendment back in like March or February. We applied, waited through the summer, and just received word, I think a month ago, that we were approved for the full amount of the $150,000 matching grant. It is a reimbursement program. Just got done attending last week the initial seminar online for getting ready to sign the contracts and what they'll require and how it'll be, how it'll go after that. And so we're in the midst of it. I would hope that we can actually submit reimbursements even from now on, but I don't have anything really in the pipeline to submit to it yet. We do have to file with them what our plan is of how the funds are going to be used. That was a little new. We originally gave them some ideas of what we wanted to do, and a part of now the contract is to actually give them a pretty good, clear idea of how much is going to be spent in certain areas. So I got to sit back down work with EDA in that.
Does the EDA have the matching funds to go with like $150,000 grant?
Yes, we set that aside back in February. That was kind of a internal movement of funds. We had that in our housing, so we basically moved housing funds over to housing, but in this particular one, so we can say these are dedicated to that usage. At this point in time, what we have, one of the criteria is the individuals that we can assist have to be at or below 115% of Minnesota and AMI, and I don't remember what that stands for, but it's basically a median income level, adjusted median income, something of that sort. In to $2025, that's $134,300. That's not what I would consider low. That's definitely moderate income and below. So it certainly can help a lot of individuals. Certainly first-time home buyers, younger people. I tend to use both some funds for home purchase incentives, but also for some remodeling. We've got, since we filled up the UCAP program, I think I've got about 4 or 5 new people that want to participate the next time one of those comes around. Well, maybe we can actually sponsor something without actually having to go through UCAP and do the same kind of loan programs that we've already become accustomed to. We've had such good luck with those.
So, Tom, the housing fund that you mentioned referred to that the money was transferred out of for this matching grant program. Is that the fund that built up over the years from people repaying their small cities loans and so forth?
I don't think so. No, that's a whole separate one.
That's a separate account. That's the CDBG account that has to be used for like in kind. But the housing fund would have came from, most of the money that came from that would have been the Eastview, or I think they were called the fourplexes, or over by 3rd Street. Yep. Okay. So that had been money. What Tom got was it's almost like it's their match, because it's the money that we would have been using for some kind of housing program anyway. So we're just trying to figure out how we can use it and capitalize on them giving us $100,000.
No, that's good. Sounds like a good plan.
Any other questions? Dave says no. Thank you.
Just give my report a little bit, and then, because I want to talk a little bit about what you want to bring up, I'll let you go first with that. But you're going to see something from me by the end of this week. I know you've all seen the initial budget sent to you with the PowerPoint, so we have some more information that Tyler and I will have for you for that. What I am looking for is possibly on the 8th. I know we don't want to go after the city council meeting on the 8th, but I'm just wondering if at 5 o'clock on the 8th that we could meet for an hour. Because remember that the second meeting in September has to be when we put our preliminary budget levy together. So we can remember that's something we can go lower than what we set, but we can't go higher than that. So we have to have that done by the second city council meeting in September. So I'd like to meet sometime just to go over some things. Would that be an issue, or we can discuss that by, I'll just send out an email to you, and just wondering if at 5 o'clock on the, I believe it's the 8th, would work for everybody. Or we could set up a different day too. I just thought since you were coming in that night, bring everybody in right at 5 o'clock, and would that give us a full hour to discuss the 2026 budget.
Is an hour enough?
I believe it will be with the amount of information that we've already given to you. It'll be there'll be a lot of old information in the PowerPoint itself.
I guess I have no problem coming in the 8th, and if we don't get everything finalized, because we have to by the second meeting, then if we need to throw a meeting in, we throw a meeting in between the 8th.
We have the plan for that anyway, of the extra meeting, and so if we need that to get together sometime, we can decide that night maybe, if that'd be all right, then we can publicize that, have the budget meeting at 5 o'clock on the 8th then. Does that sound all right with everybody, or does everybody want to think about it?
What does it sound like if we do this at 5 o'clock, don't quite get through it, we stop it, do our regular council meeting, and then come back into it, so we don't have another meeting?
No, we'd rather go to a different night.
I'd rather
than-
go a different night. So everything's going on.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
please,
the one that I have to make.
please.
I'll send that out in an email though, just to make sure, and then we can discuss that a little bit. Okay?
Sounds perfect.
They TiVo that.
All right. One of the things I want to talk a little bit about, last year I kind of dropped the ball, not kind of, I did drop the ball on getting the fee schedule out. So Tyler and I talked about that last week. We're gonna have the fee schedule sent out to all of you so you can take a look at it before that budget meeting on the 8th, and then we're actually gonna send it up to the department heads so we can get their adjustments. We found a few things that we need to get adjusted, especially with building permits and things like that. So we want to talk that it's fresh in our mind with the swimming pool. Anything else that we need to, go with the fee schedule, any kind of increases that we might need to do or changes. So you'll see that in the real near future also. Okay. All right. So, a discussion on how council would like us to deal with chronic offenders for the our Clean Up Tracy program that we have. So you said you had a comment or something you'd like to talk about?
I just was doing a curbside chat with a citizen over the weekend, and they said, is there any reason, is it a state thing? Why you have to give them 6 months in order from the offense, if the timeline that they have to fix it?
And I'll tell you, that's kind of why I brought Matt in tonight to talk a little bit about this and kind of steps going forward. But I think that's more on the line of our program and the time frame that we've given them.
There is no, so there's really 3 ways you can proceed with abating housing conditions. 2 are under city code. You have basically the building code, and Shane's been pretty good on that. That's like exterior siding, windows, don't have the proper building code installments. Second basis would be like a nuisance property, debris, junk in the yard, too many cars. The third is by state statute, that's a hazardous or substandard building. That's a building that's substructurally unsafe, and you usually get an inspector, or you can visibly just see it from the buildings. The roof's collapsed, or it's leaning over, it's barely standing. So those are the 3 bases that you can proceed. The procedure is generally the same, is you have to provide them initial notice, letting them know how their building is deficient or what needs to be abated. And the city can set whatever time period in which they need to comply or correct that. Typically it's 30 days. Then at that point, if they're not compliant with bringing the building and property to compliance, whatever time frame you guys specify, then the next section is it comes before the city council. And then you pass a resolution ordering them to do so again, setting forth the time frame. And at that point, if they don't comply, then you can file with the court a motion to obtain an order to go into the property, to take the repairs, assess the cost, or obtain a judgment against the property. If all of that goes directly, that process takes 3 months, 4 months, depending on the court calendar when you get a hearing. So 6 months, there's no set time frame in which you need to wait, unless you guys have a policy that says otherwise. But probably from the date you notice the violation until everything's concluded is probably 6 months. And that's just a natural time frame in which to start that process and finish it. And then obviously hiring someone to do the work, or if the city can do the work. But that's typically normal. There's another process, Jason can cite them criminally. I always advise against that, because that process, there's really no known time frame, because a person may not appear in court and nothing happens. Or they request a trial, and then that costs the city a lot more money because they're afforded a public defender, so that can drag the proceedings on. The abatement process is a lot quicker, and it's going to cost you probably $1,500 in legal fees to file all the necessary paperwork. Most of those people the properties to get to that point are non-responsive or not communicative, so they don't respond. So you can get an order way sooner than going through the criminal process, and then you have more control over the proceedings. But Jason and the police department can cite under city code. I know if you had some bad experience with that, I would advise you not to do that. I would advise you to do civil.
That's where the 6 months that the mayor is talking about, it came in because the ones that didn't pay their citations and took it to court and lost their case, the judge ruled that they had to pay this fine and then were given 6 months probation to clean up their mess, which allowed them 6 months to have a mess, basically, because you couldn't cite them again in that probationary period. That's where the mayor was getting 6 months.
And the abatement process cuts that out, so you can just get an order from the court and enter the property correctly. It's just a matter of identifying the properties that you believe need to be addressed first, and that comes down to budgeting, identifying what properties, and figuring out how much it's going to cost to correct those properties. Because initially the city's going to front those costs. Hopefully you get those costs back through any amounts that are assessed to the property. You also want to consider where it's at in terms of tax delinquency, because if it's a really bad property and it is on the tax forfeiture list, depending on how bad the city wants to correct that property, you're not going to get that money back because it's going to be tax forfeited. So it's all a matter of how much priority the city has to correct specific properties. You always want to look at the tax delinquency process to see where it's at, because those laws have changed now. It makes it much more difficult for counties to clean up the properties. There's more waiting process, and the city to buy it back, it's more complicated now. So that's always something to consider as well. It really comes down to money, and then identifying which properties are the worst, and that comes probably placed within your budget as well coming up.
So that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit is we do have some chronic, and we want to be fair as Jason and I and Shane and Tom and Clay have our meetings. You know, we're not sitting there picking on any particular person, but we're also getting some non-compliance. So do we do, you know, the process here? Do we make it a more of a criminal thing as opposed to civil? What do we want to do? Because we have some issues, because I'm getting the same phone calls as, well, I'm on the list and I'm working on it, but I don't see anything else. I don't see other people working on the list. Well, we have. We've gotten a great number of responses from people, and people are working on what we're asking them to do. But now we're a little bit we're stalled a little bit. It's a certain amount we can do, and that's what we run into that Matt's talking about is we can put anything out there, but if it gets assessed to the property, and if that particular property is sitting at 4 years of back in taxes right now, we know that the county is going to be getting that, which essentially when the county gets that house back, we're getting that house back. We do have budgeted funds. We have $21,000 left out of that $50,000 that we put towards this project. So we can use some of that money for court fees, for lawyer fees. I want the council to be a little bit more of a part of that, of how you want us to move forward from there.
To minimize your fees too, the city can always approach a property owner and say, would you allow us to come on the property and raise or remove, and they can do that voluntarily. That cuts out getting an order from the court. So that's ideal. In that situation, I can prepare a document that legally gives the city permission and avoids trespassing things that's from the property owner. They may be even willing to pay that back over time. You can assess that to the property, or if they just want to say, I'm not going to pay for it, city can come on and take care of it at your cost, that's another option. At least it takes up some of your legal fees and other associated fees. So that always takes two though, and it takes a property owner to be communicative and responsive. And usually those properties that have got to that point, that's not something that they've been able to do.
So the tax delinquent ones, is that still like the 5-year?
Yes.
And then they have
3 of the last 5 years, and then it's set on for auction sale, and then there's a period of redemption. So it's a lengthy.
We should be running into the 5-year process now. Right now, we're on an 8-year process because of some legal issues in Dakota County and a couple of counties in Minnesota. But now we should be getting back to where to be on 5 years. But it sometimes it comes across from us as a little bit, well, you're picking on me, or, you know, do we want to go after those because we know we're probably not going to get the money back, but we're going to end up with that house. Do we save the house? There's so many different ways that we can do things, you know. And Jason goes around for nuisance ordinances and cites people, but you know, and we get some work done, but it never seems to be enough. I'm glad we're doing the program, and so you know what, right now we have the money budgeted again this coming year for 2026.
So if we don't use all this, will that roll into the next?
It doesn't really roll into it. You just, you know, we're going to try to use that. But right now, I believe it's 21,000 is what we have left out of the 50 this year, and we're going to try to. And we're looking at 2 of the houses, 200 Union Street, and is it 434 Harvey? Roland. That we're going to, are the 2 houses that are on our list.
Roland Street.
Yeah, is it 434 or is it 330?
424.
424?
424.
Roland, which is the 2 houses that we're going to be going after.
And
So-
what was the street number I mean?
200 Union.
So on the ones that we've run up the flagpole 4 times, or 3 times or whatever, and we've given them 30 days, 60 days, and got no response, what's the best route to go through that?
If you've already given the initial notice of violation or non-compliance or abatement, then the next step is to bring it before council. And you give the owner notice that we're going to be discussing the property, here's what we're going to discuss. Feel free to come and, you know, address those with the council. Typically they don't. You pass that ordinance, that gets served upon the property owner, and then they have additional time in that resolution to comply. If they
So
don't,
do we get to set that time?
yes, yes.
So if this has been like the 3rd time that we've done it, and we've given them 30 days each time, so now the next time we could go, it's like, okay, you have a week.
I
Or
would
do you have
usually,
to-
I would usually say 30 days.
Okay.
But then that's the final step that you need to complete, have that served upon them. And then if they're still not in compliance, then that allows us, the city, to obtain a permit. So that's really the final step in the process before you can attempt to get that permit.
So can we, let's say we did a property 2 times 2 years ago and 2 times this year, does that roll forward?
Yeah.
I mean,
If
it's not like
still
it has to be in a calendar year.
No. If it's still not compliance, it's still not compliance, and we've had notice, so.
And this is a building that is found to be unsafe, or what if people are living in it?
So, depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to raise it, demolish it, then you're gonna need to address relocation costs because you're essentially displacing those people. So if that's the intent, then that's gonna add extra expenses. That makes that a little more difficult. If it's just to correct the conditions of the property, perhaps it's not structurally sound enough to correct.
Then that's our expense to relocate.
Correct.
I don't think we've run into that before.
That's a rare situation, but that's an extra item you need to address. Because essentially you're displacing those people from the property.
So right now, is it our fault that they're getting displaced when the place is like unlivable?
That's because you're pursuing it and you're raising the property, and as a city, that's an item that you still have to be responsible for. It doesn't make sense, but it's something that would need to be fixed.
Both of those houses, are they both empty now? I think.
Both of them are beyond
Right.
unlivable.
Another item we utilize is contact Health and Human Services. Jason Kloss, they have the authority of the public health department in the county where they can condemn it and then remove people, and that's at no cost to the city. So it is, but that has to relate to health issues. So it's not structural. you
Could
know,
be mold.
molds, junk, you know, if there's not working toilets, things like that. And they have a lot more authority than the city to enter property without permission. So I always get Jason Kloss involved at onset, because maybe he can find something that's no cost to the city.
So more than anything, I just wanted you to be aware of some of the not issues, but some of the roadblocks that we ran into.
How many-
We are getting phone calls from citizens that are, you know, they know we're talking about it, they know we're doing something about it, they know we're spending money on it, it just isn't getting done quick enough for some people.
How many chronic offenders do you think we have? You have a guess?
Well, you've got the list in front of you, that was in the packet, and, you know, there was some people that asked for some extensions, which were pretty easy to get
But there are
extensions.
dates.
Yep.
Because you're not going to be able to see all those, right?
But there's an awful lot of red on these 2 pages,
Good.
but he's colorblind.
Yeah.
Handicap.
But he could go by the deadline.
Yeah, the deadline on there is you can read that also. And that shows what the violation is, what action's been taken. So it's not a lack, you know, Chief Lichty will deliver letters for us. I mean, it's not that we're not communicating with these people. We're just not getting very far with a few chronic ones. So it's just that that's what we're gonna have to decide here is, you know, and then we run into winter, because then you can't see a lot of anything in Minnesota, because everything's covered in snow. So any thoughts? I mean, we have the budget to, the budget wasn't set just to buy and tear down houses. It was to clean up the city and whatever's taken there. So just don't be surprised if we decide to do some kind of criminal also. But we're not going after one particular person. For us, we talk about it, we go, okay, who's been on the list the longest? What are the worst conditions?
And we have had success stories out of this too, not to say everything's bad.
Yes. Oh gosh, we have.
We've had a lot cleaned up and taken care of.
Yep.
By doing this, so it's not like we're just out picking on everybody.
Yep.
Nobody's ever doing anything. We do have people that actually do take care of the issues.
And Dave, you gotta, you know, we're talking, you know, there's 5 of us in the office, you know, it's what you feel is clean and what somebody else feels is clean, or neighbor or whatever. There's 2 different things. What's livable, you know, Matt's talking about, you know, moving somebody out. What you feel is livable and what I feel is livable, and what somebody else does is
Different.
They're different, yeah. So we try to be respectable as we can, but we also have an obligation to the rest of the citizens, and especially in the neighborhoods. Any other questions with that? I don't really need any decision. We have the money. So just, you know, you'll be a part of if there's anything that we need to, you know, put through to the city council. Because we'll probably meet here next week again.
I just think we need to continue down the road that we're on. But some of the ones that have been, like this is year 2 that we've been after some properties. We have to get a little, you know, a bad word, but we have to get a little meaner.
Yep.
About they've got to do something or we're going to do something.
Yeah.
Well, I also agree that we have to continue to press forward with the program, even though it's expensive. I think that eventually the word is going to get out on people that the city is serious about this, and I do believe that we have wide support from the majority of people in town who want to see these messes and housing deficiencies cleared up, because even though it costs money, taxpayer money, to enforce this, it costs people more when blight holds down property values and just degrades everyone's quality of life.
I do not have a problem moving forward. I know when this was before us decades ago when I was on, my concern had been, especially for people perhaps who are elderly, who you often see a decline sometimes in the upkeep of a home. due to either their inability to do it themselves or financial. And I hate to see people, in a way, we can cause them to lose their home. And there were some court actions in the past that I was very concerned about. It caused them to lose their home. And that's the only concern I ever had. And I know at that time we kind of had a game plan with civic organizations like if, we could help. We've got this housing fund, if we could help buy, if it's paint, if their place needs to be painted or whatever. It couldn't be major structural problems, but some of it is that sort of thing. I think we haven't been doing any of that for a long time. But
We do refer to UCAP for winterization and anything that we feel that's necessary. A lot of ours is more on the line of a little bit of communication. I mean, when we send out the communication and we don't get somebody to sign for it, then it really is tough for us to sit around and go, well, let's give them another chance. Well, we're going to give them 30 days, or we're going to send Chief Lichty over there with a letter. And that's when it's tough, when we don't get any action, we don't get any, there's not even any communication.
yeah, I'm just saying,
I know what
in
you're
the past,
saying.
my concern has been
Yeah.
for people that are in a position that they are limited in what they can do to remediate.
And I agree with you, Jan, but on the other hand, by not ignoring the situation, if we just ignore the situation, the situation for the homeowner is going to get worse. And in the long run, we're doing them a favor by kind of pressing forward with the issue. And there are programs out, government programs designed to help low-income people maintain their housing stock. So hopefully that can be part of the process.
Thank you.
Well, and even this new housing that we have, where the income now can be up to possibly 134,000, and they could get this grant or whatever. I would think that would open up for people to try to apply for that. Now, I mean, there's options out there. It's just, I mean,
and they might not be aware of those options.
But that's where
They need to make a phone call.
yeah, if they would call back, they could be told about these programs and what steps it would take to do it.
There are so many of them that are past due. And are the ones that are past due like the ones that are non-responsive?
Some aren't. Some have called. We like to see them turn to the purple or the one that they say extend on them. It's nice to to be able to do that. And if nothing happens, then of course we're right back at square one, giving them the updates. Matt, would you mind sending out something to the council, just kind of giving them the options so we can maybe
Sure.
through
I think I've sent a memo previously. I can resend that. That's one of those steps. To address what Jan stated, if there are elderly citizens, they can communicate with the city, allow the city to correct the conditions, allow the city to have a special assessment against the property. You already have a special assessment deferment program for elderly people. So essentially they could say, I agree that I'm going to pay this tax over, that this cost can be assessed to my property taxes. They would apply for deferral, they don't have to pay that. And it remains there until they either pass away, they sell the property. So then it ensures the city can make the corrections, but the city also has the ability to collect its costs. So
after they're no longer with us. And thank you, I.
And that changes.
And that applies to military members, active military members, and I believe it's a financial inability under your policy. I forget the exact. So there are they can agree to that and then not have to pay that, but at least preserves the right for the city to do the work and then collect it.
I don't believe we ask for any kind of financials with that, with our assessments.
Yeah, that's a phone number.
They have to fill it out, but it's not about
So when they say they're asked for an extension, who grants that then?
Well, we're going to look at what the case would be, but we're not going to discriminate against any particular person. But if you're working on it, depending on what as you can see a couple of them on here, where when Clay has to put what the violation is and you have to write the word everything. I mean, that's something. I mean, work on something. Okay. All right, that was the discussion I was wanting, so thank you. Anybody else got anything to add with that before we move on?
When did we start doing violations? Do we start like in April? Do we start in May?
Yeah, a lot of them, you can see a lot of these are.
First warnings went out in April.
Go ahead.
First warnings went out in April.
So maybe that's in some of our repeaters, it's like, well, you've got till May 15th, and then we just have to start pushing it down the line a little harder.
We haven't gone into where we go onto the property and get it through Matt and paperwork and through the city council to go onto the property and take care of the, because then we run into, do we have the time to do it? Do we have the capacity through our current city crew to do that?
And we've been pushing them pretty hard this year.
Yeah, especially with all the green grass because of the rain, yeah.
The only thing I'll add is, so the second phase of that is, we've been through that on a couple occasions. Both of those worked out well, but the citizen came before you and asked for continuance, and I just want to alert you that that's probably going to happen. And it's not going to be a comfortable thing. And I think, none of us wants to be that person to another one of our neighbors or somebody we've known forever here in town. So I think that's another reason Jeff's bringing it up, is that's the next stage, that some of these people will come before you with some real bad, sad stories of why it is the way it is. And you'll have to try to figure out what do you do then.
But that also gives us the point of contact the county. Here's who can help you with what you need to do, instead of the people that just ignore us.
We would welcome the communication, yes.
Yeah. So it's like that's what I'm after. It's like hopefully it'll push people to actually say something, or if they come in here and then we can go, well, talk to Tom tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock and he can give you 7 spots to talk to.
Well, and I do believe that the city staff have done a really good job of documentation so that we can see what efforts have been made on our part to extend information, etc., all the times that they were even notified. So, if it is a chronic issue and they haven't been cooperating, it becomes kind of evident because you have documentation.
I just want us to be leery of saying that we will go in and correct the problem and everything, because we don't have the workforce, and
right.
I want to say, even the specialty, we don't have all these plumbers, and yes, we've got some people that have worked in construction and stuff like that, but that's not their job. Their job for the city is not going in and correcting all these houses and buildings and everything. So I'm hesitant to go down that road, because I don't know who we would have do the work. If we're gonna have to be renting it out, if we're gonna be having to hire that out, we're just digging an even deeper hole for us.
Yeah, and you're gonna have a license to do it on
Right.
property too.
So, I mean, that might sound like a good option, but I just don't think our city has the...
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, but I see us as being able, if someone has the roof is leaking and it needs to be shingled, that we're trying to do the homeowner a favor by directing them to people, contractors who are roofers, and programs that could finance a re-roof job rather than just ignore it and finally the roof collapses and there's no salvage for the homeowner or the house.
And then it creates another problem.
Yeah.
That we end up taking care of, yes.
Well, it can be done, even if they hire somebody to do it, they can still do part of that assessment, correct?
Yeah, so in those situations where it's specialty work, that's where the budget comes into play. Get an estimate of what's this gonna cost before you even consider it. And then, is it in the budget, do you want to do it? Say you hire those people, assess it to the property, then the issue is, are you going to get them?
Yeah.
So, that's always the issue that you run into when you go to that process or that stage.
Well, and it's like anything, when you start a remodel project, what you're all gonna come, it's gonna turn into a much bigger project. I like the idea of pulling Jeff, Tom, to meet with these people, to talk with these people, to get them to the programs that can help them.
A lot of these on here are supposed, the deadline is 8/4/25, so what do you do with them? Is that what you're asking?
Well, that's, we're gonna have to do, that's what we're asking, that's what the conversation's about, is we have to do some things with the budget that we have to push the issue a little bit harder, yes.
Yeah, because there's quite a few of them.
It's just not comfortable for anybody.
Well, and a lot of the projects are outdoor projects. It's siding, it's roofing, it's windows, I mean, it's painting.
A lot of paint, a lot of it's
Where we're gonna get those pleas of, we can't find anyone to do it now before winter.
And those are just these, and then we go into the nuisance ordinances also, and then it's, but if you gotta, I don't want anybody to look past anything, but the progress that the city has made and the number of houses that have done so well with cleaning up everything within the city. You gotta, I mean, you don't have to look far to find some very, very nice yards and a lot of work that people have done, so. Okay. Move on then. All right, thank you. Thank you, Matt. I'm gonna get to you real quick, I promise. We're gonna work through these. We've got a couple of resolutions I'd like to take care of. Resolution 2025-69, consenting to a transfer of control of franchise. I'm going to read you a couple of short paragraphs. This is through Blue Peak, that something that they wanted us to run through the city council with a resolution. Blue Peak filed applications with state regulators and local franchising authorities requesting approval for it to make a series of internal asset transfers in preparation for raising more financing for its network operations and expansion. The transfers, once completed, will not affect Blue Peak's customers at all in any practical way, other than changing the legal name of the provider to one of Blue Peak's wholly owned and controlled subsidiaries, depending on the customer's town or city or town. So they were just more comfortable with going through and getting a resolution for their asset transfers within the company, so.
Okay, I don't want to sound stupid, but what is it?
What's that?
What is Loop? Isn't that what you said?
Blue Peak?
Oh, Blue Peak.
Blue Peak.
Blue Peak.
Blue Peak. I'm like, what is Blue Peak?
Yes, no, it's Blue
That's
Peak,
that
yes.
hard of hearing.
Yeah, sorry about that, my voice is going away too, so. So pretty simple, and they just want, that's what the 41 pages that you have in there, and then they sent me, what actually they're doing, so. There's nothing that's gonna affect anybody, any customers within Blue Peak within the city, so.
Nate.
Yep.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2025-69.
Second.
Jeez, it was a race.
Who won?
Jones,
Aye.
Arviso,
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Landag,
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Number 2 there, before we get to Bollig, it's resolution 2025-70, amending the 2025-67 pay app number 4 for airports. Shane, can you go up and address this a little bit? It's just there was a, not a huge change, but just a mistake that was made in the last pay app. Go ahead.
So there's a spreadsheet issue when they process this pay app, so the quantities were off, and they didn't want to pay for quantities that weren't used. Those quantities on site, I believe, was the line item that was off. So basically, we just didn't pay that last pay app, and then this is the amended version of it. So, any questions on that?
Did the Bollig people find the
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think Jordan's wants to address that tonight, but it's,
No, it wasn't me that found it.
Yeah. Not really his department.
Thank you.
Who would like to do that?
I would like to suggest a motion to approve resolution 2025-70, amending 2025-67 pay app number 4 for airport hangars.
Second. Anybody have any discussion about that? All right, roll call please.
Van Dyke.
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Teagues.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Mayor Forman.
Yes.
and our last item on tonight, sorry Jordan, but we got into that and I just wanted to keep going, so why don't you come on up and.
Can I make a motion to do it before he even starts, because it's SCADA?
I knew you'd like it.
So yeah, kind of just a little bit of an update on SCADA, and then I'll talk a little bit about lead service line. But the SCADA improvements project, so we're kind of currently finalizing the design for that piece. We're preparing bidding documents for that project. I have a little bit of it's tentative schedule, and some of it's kind of just due to like lead times on construction materials and things like that. But what I have in here is kind of what we're shooting for. We'll complete design here in about a week. Beginning of September, we'll then go through it with Shane kind of one last time. Once the design is completely done, then we'll submit it to agencies for review. So it'll have to go to the MPCA because they're the ones that issued the grant, the wastewater resilience grant that funded a bunch of the project. So kind of next week, we will submit it to them for review. And then it'll probably take a week or so to get some comments back if they have any and make those revisions. So middle of September, we're kind of shooting to bid the project, and then it'll have to be posted for 30-ish days. So we'd be looking to open bids kind of in the middle of October, and then by the time kind of everything gets sorted out with paperwork, we would award the project in November of this year.
And it can be done in the winter.
Yep, a lot of it can be. There's some water tower stuff that'll likely have to go on the exterior of the tower, so most of that can be done in the winter, but obviously it's weather permitting for some of that. So the construction start date, substantial completion, and final completion are kind of all, we're kind of waiting on those a little bit. We're working on those dates through design, but the construction start is really going to be dependent on when the contractor can get materials. So I don't know that it'll happen before the first of the year, or if it'll be kind of early 26. So any questions on that kind of process, kind of where things are at?
So when are you giving your next update to the council about everything that's going on?
So I'll be sending you, I think you mentioned that the first weekend, or the first meeting in September is pretty full.
Yep.
So I'll get you an update, but I probably won't be doing it, more just be an update for you guys to read and that sort of thing. And then I'll include that funding piece in there, where I know you'd asked for that last meeting. So we'll get that included, and then I'll be back the first meeting in October to give you guys kind of another kind of walkthrough on everything that we've been working on for airport and infrastructure.
With as much as they've got going on here in town, I asked them to at least be here every 2 months to give us an update of what's going on, because it's not just airport, it's not just community center, it's not just lead pipes, it's not just Phase E. It's, we've got so many things that are going on. So maybe not as much for you, maybe for me, my sanity.
No, I think it would be good to hear, because we can kind of lose track of what all is being done also, where when you come and present it, it keeps not only us, but also the community up to date. Because I think sometimes they don't realize how much is all
there's a lot of pieces right now, so it's actually helpful for me too. So there's a lot of moving parts. So
So you're gonna get that taken care of before you go into the lead service, or what do you,
Yeah, I think we can just do it now and then I'll jump into lead service line.
Okay, so resolution 2025-71, SCADA bid authorization, council to authorize us to, and you,
I'll make it twice.
yes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Arvisu,
Yes.
Van Dyke,
Aye.
Heinrichs,
Aye.
Teagues,
Aye.
Mayor Corbin.
Aye.
Alright. So the other piece, it's more kind of informational, but we're, the second round of NDH grant funds for the lead service line investigations has started. You've probably seen some bog trucks around town, maybe gotten some phone calls from residents, but those inspections were done kind of a week and a half ago, August 12th through the 14th. Basically what we did is scheduled a bunch of time slots for residents to sign up for. It takes about 5 minutes for our field staff to go in and verify the pipe coming into the homes. We're still working on kind of determining some of the unknowns on the system side. So the way that they break it up is the system portion is owned by you guys. It's basically from the water mains to the curb stops. And then from the curb stops to the home is the customer owned portion. So that's the way that MDH classifies both. The only way to see the customer side of the pipe and classify it is to get into the home to verify the pipe before the meter. And on the system side, it's really old documents, project manuals, investigative work that's happened previously with the older system that you guys have. Some of the system side is unknown, and there's not going to be a way for us to probably figure it out. So it'll just get submitted that way, but the likelihood is that there will be some excavation that needs to be done later. So right now they're still trying to figure everything out without doing the digging, without doing any potholing, anything like that. And then it would be likely the next round to get the system side verified. But through the customer side home inspections, we found about 200 of the 355 that were remaining. So it's a good chunk that we were able to knock out through this second round. And then we have, it's not scheduled yet, but there will likely be another kind of round of flyers and stuff that will get mailed out to residents for kind of one last shot at getting the customers.
How many lead pipes did you find?
I haven't checked recently. I know there was 5 or 6 in town after the first round of investigation, so I have not checked it to see.
We gained one, I think,
One.
since last year.
Okay. So most of the time there's not a lot, but with the older system, it's kind of, it's there. It can be with the older homes, so.
Are you finding a lot of resistance from homeowners wanting you or letting you in?
There was a lot more in the first round, I think, because it was definitely a new process for everybody. I think the biggest thing though is having a homeowner schedule a time. We're not knowing how to schedule a time, so there's 3 ways if residents ask you. I don't know if you guys have seen the flyer or not, but there's a QR code to schedule an appointment, and then there's also a QR code to do this inspection yourself. And it kind of brings you to a website, walks you through a bunch of prompts. It's pretty easy, it takes about 5 minutes. But then there's also a phone number for our office, so if somebody just wants to call us and tell us what their pipe is, we can do that for them too. So the biggest thing is kind of, just having them open the letters, read the letters, take the time to kind of just do it, be done with it. I know it's a pain, but eventually this is going to get pushed back onto the city. It'll be something that the city will have to maintain and continue to kind of progress this once the grant funds run out. So
We're ahead of the game right now.
Yeah. Right now it's at no cost to the city to do this work. It's all funded through MDH, but eventually it'll come back to you guys to button up the rest of the unknowns.
How many are left?
So on the customer side, about 135-ish on the customer side.
that list that you could get, a list of the ones that we couldn't get in, but like the city could get, and it's like, Jerry knows who somebody is on the list, and it's like, you call them up and go, hey, you need to call this number so they can check for you know,
need
that
help, and when you get down to the brass tacks, we can help out a little bit, yeah.
just
I think it's gotta be done, end of October-ish, so it might be something where we send out this second round of flyers, and if we don't get a response, then we can kind of take that
But it
route.
might be one of those, we can just get a few of them done just by people we know that just don't want to read their mail, or if it's the senior.
Don't understand it, yeah.
A senior that doesn't understand and they see the QR, first thing they see is the
Yeah.
QR code and they're like, oh, I don't know what that is, so forget it.
Yeah.
That's right, throw it right away.
Looking at making it.
It's a scam.
But it's just one of those that we can maybe help out, just get something done since it's free to do.
That's a good idea, yeah.
The
And we
other
can get
thing
you the
is,
list.
it's coming from Bollig, right? Which some people might not be aware of. Would it somehow look better coming from the city of Tracy?
I can't remember if we put the city of Tracy's letterhead on the envelope.
I think I think it's our envelope, yes.
Oh, okay, good.
And we did it that way so they would hopefully open it. and at
Right,
least
that-
take a
that
look
was-
at it.
I didn't realize how you were sending it.
If it's found that is a lead pipe from the house to the shut off, there's nothing the homeowner has to do until they go to sell the property, or are they then required to bring it up too? Because I'm just wondering if that's some reason why some people, if they know it's an old house, they don't want to let somebody in to find that it is a lead.
You'd think they'd want to know that.
Shane will address that.
We actually created an ordinance back when it was a 3A1 or 3A2 project a few years ago. I know Eric was here when we did it, but anytime we have a project and there's a lead service line, and we did it, that was before this program existed, but what we did is to prevent everybody from just having to dig up their yard, because a lot of times they could have copper coming into their house and there's a chunk of lead in their front yard they don't know about. When they do a project, that's when they'll find things like that. In some cases, if it's a chunk up by the house, they'll probably never find it. But at that point, when they have the project done, then they'll have a requirement to replace that section from the curb stop to the house during the street project. So, I mean, until a project comes by, then, and we actually got rid of one. We only had one during the 3A2 project. So, and there's another section they found. It was a piece of lead that was like 3 feet long, and they just went another 3 feet and they took care of it. So I mean, everything's a little bit different as far as what's under the
So
ground.
right
and
now,
where.
would there be an expense to the property owner though, if it was found?
Not until they do a project.
I mean, because that could be some people's reservation, they don't want all of a sudden now to have to pay for this.
And right now,
So I just want people to realize it's not something that's gonna force them to have to pay for it right away.
And the other thing too, there could be grants coming following this based on how many each town has. So any lead service lines that are out there, you're gonna wanna report, or you may not get funded and you have to pay for it on your own later when they find that you do have one.
So if somebody wanted to, for instance, coming into my house, it was copper, okay? But you said there might be something in the yard that you're not aware of.
There could be.
So where could I go test my water to see if there's any lead in my water?
Would it show up?
What,
We can do a voluntary test
well, I'm just
every
saying,
3
would
years.
that just be a common sense way of finding out if there's something
Not
that?
necessarily. So we're required by the Department of Health every 3 years to do lead and copper sampling. And the amount of samples are based on your system size. So we have to do 10 every 3 years. So we're required to do all the lead services that are known first. And then after that, then we'd go to the copper services or whatever. But There's a lot of lead service lines that don't show much different than copper because we treat the water at the plant to coat the inside of the pipes to prevent. We're required to put that in from the Department of Health also, but it coats the pipes to prevent contamination of lead and copper.
So it may not show up
It may not
if
show
I
up.
do a water sample
Correct.
from my sink, kitchen
Yep.
sink faucet. So then why do we have to remediate if you've already taken care of?
So now that's state, now this is the federal. So this is a federal program now, so. Now we gotta,
They just wanted to get all lead out of any pipe.
it's a whole separate program. So we've been testing the lead and copper, we've been sending those tests out since the 90s, probably before that, I don't know how far back, but.
I know I've received a notice, this is a long time ago, about, we had extra copper in our water. Did you remember those letters that were sent out? I'm the only one who got one.
If they tested your house, you would have got a letter.
No, it was generally in the whole city type stuff, that there was a higher level of copper in the water. Probably engineers.
Well, part of this inventory process is identifying the amount, Shane said, the number of lead service lines in town, and then submitting back to MDH's project. So with the AZ project, there's actually 4 of them that we've included in that project as a separate kind of funding source. So they're within the footprint of Phase E, and then once, hopefully once Phase E gets funded, they'll also fund this portion of the lead service line replacement. So we would replace the system side during the Phase E project, and then we would replace the customer side through this separate grant program through MDH.
So really, we could tell citizens, it's not gonna cost you any money to have it done, and you could possibly qualify for grant money to get it done for your safety
It's in your best
down the
interest.
road.
It might not cost you any money, I would say it's not gonna, it might not cost you.
Well, it's not going to right away.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing with getting the inventory done
But
is,
yeah, we don't want-
as far as we know, it's gonna be first come, first served for the funds that they have allocated towards this program. So the faster we can get these done and submitted completely, then you have access to those grant funds for longer.
So we know.
So.
Okay.
So, yeah, hopefully, if you guys do get questions, you can defer anybody to us. Like I said, it's all grant funded, so you can give them my number, there's a number on that flyer. Or
Your personal?
you can, yeah, I use it for work, so.
Who wouldn't let him into the house?
Yeah, that's really all I got.
Thank you, sorry it took so long to
No,
get
that's
there.
totally fine.
No,
Well, he doesn't have to drive into a storm.
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of a dud, but
That was fine.
yeah.
So we got number 4 done already, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Good to see you.
all again.
Out of the kitchen. The shit.